we're going to start tonight with a quick Netflix check-in and a pair of tweets. The first is from Nick Turner, a senior editor at Bloomberg. He writes, in a classic I retire as champion move, Netflix just crushed expectations with its subscriber numbers and then said it will no longer report them starting in 2025. And then the second is from a Twitter user named Sean Nyberg. He says, Netflix is going from peak TV to peaked TV. The only reason a company stops reporting their marquee benchmark for success is if their internal forecasting indicates a huge shift to the negative. They've got no more tricks up their sleeve. So, Ben, I have seen a handful of analysts say that this signifies Netflix is now a mature business. What might that mean for Netflix, and do you agree with that conclusion?
No, that's one of the dumbest tweets I've ever heard. But the important thing to get to here is I have a take on Taylor Swift's new album, or albums, I guess I should say.
Great. It's only been 4 days. I'm glad that you've already worked your way all the way through.
No, I haven't. I've listened to like 1.5 songs with my daughter in the car. I don't know if I'll listen to any. The reviews are not overly positive, but you know what? It doesn't matter because Taylor Swift has already peaked sort of in global popularity. And that's not a criticism. It's you literally cannot get higher than where she was sort of last summer, which is fine. So what do you do? What do you do at that point? What is the point that we make again and again about the internet? On the internet with free distribution, sort of free transaction costs, sort of infinite scalability, the only scarce resource is time and attention. That's all you have. What's the best way to monopolize and to dominate the time and attention of your rabid fan base that does not particularly care if they will make themselves believe the songs are good enough? I don't even need to listen to them to know if they're good or not. It doesn't matter. What's the best route?
Well,
release like 37 gazillion. That's right. That's right. Taylor Swift has been flooding the zone for a while now. She's running out of sort of Taylor's versions of her albums. So she's just going to release the Taylor's version of her own album right off the bat with like all the missing tracks released day one. And you know what? I think she's going to be fine. And it doesn't particularly matter. Like once you reach that particular stage, it's more about maintaining your audience, giving your audience what you want. If you weren't a Taylor Swift fan before now, it's not like you're going to come on board. So it requires a different approach.
So I'm going to have to push back a little bit. Number one, she called the album the Tortured Poets Department, which is just insufferable right off the bat. Number two, apparently all the music is pretty mediocre. Some of the lyrics that I've seen posted on Twitter are cringeworthy and literally maybe physically uncomfortable to read. Number three, Taylor is sort of a different conversation than Netflix because she's at a point in her career. She is playing for legacy at this point. Like quality does matter. And honestly, stepping back entirely for 4 or 5 years wouldn't be the craziest move in the world. And she focuses on her relationship with Travis Kelce, starting a family. Who knows? But she is playing to be remembered as one of the greatest artists of all time. And you don't do that by flooding the zone with mediocre art. But that's a separate track.
Is she though? That sounds like an Andrew Sharp.
Maybe she's not. Maybe she's a capitalist.
Perspective.
Yeah, I think that's true.
What has been my Taylor Swift take from the beginning?
Yep.
She understands business, like to a degree, frankly, that like the rest of the entertainment center industry seemed to have forgotten. Like, look at the windowing strategy for her concert, right? Astronomical concert, then it's in theaters, then it's available for rent, then it's available for streaming. What a concept. Literally the same thing everyone's done for 40, 50 years, and then completely abandoned for who knows why. Now,
what a zag. I'm the real Taylor Swift fan on this podcast. I want great things for her. I want her to be remembered among the greats. And you're just like, look, keep cashing those checks.
I want 10
billion.
I want 10 billion. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Keep going, girl. All right. So how does that relate to Netflix? I can guess.
Well, I mean, I do think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, he generally stepping back by and large, I am frustrated and I get mad at companies not devolving information that I think they should. Part of this is massively self-interested, which is I want more information. That's what I rely on to do my job. At the same time, this is kind of the exception that proves the rule. I've been writing for literally years about the Netflix earnings subscriber number roller coaster. And this company that's been around for like 20 years now goes through these wild responses to their earnings every single quarter based on this subscriber number. And I think I'm not sure if I didn't have time to look this morning. I'm pretty sure I've said in the past they should just stop disclosing it. It's not actually a driver to their business anymore. It has not been for a number of years. And honestly, the reasons that they gave on their earnings call in their letter are exactly right. A huge amount of their subscriber growth for years now has been in much lower income countries. It just doesn't particularly move the needle. Now, it's a good thing to do. You're dealing with a entertainment product where there's high upfront fixed costs and then like basically zero marginal costs on the back end. Obviously, they have to pay for bandwidth, but effectively sort of zero marginal costs on the back end. And those numbers have not been material to the business for a long time. In the long run, it's a question of how much can they raise prices on their ad-free plans and how large can they grow their ad business. Those have different revenue profiles. Ideally, in the long run, they get in a situation where actually the ad business is more valuable than their paid business. I think realistically, they'll try to balance them so they're always similar, sort of accretive on both sides. That obviously would be the dream if they can sort of get there. And the key thing is everyone who knows about Netflix and would get Netflix mostly has Netflix. And I thought this was, now to be fair, I thought this was the case kind of pre-COVID. COVID finished the job. And everyone who's going to get Netflix got Netflix.
And the password sharing crackdown was the last sort of spike in growth, it sounds like.
That's right, which is a one-time thing, right? Like, you know, you're going to get that payoff and it's not be going forward. I don't think it's material to their business. And I can understand just based on the fact that they keep saying that. I've been saying it for years, and investors can't get their minds off of anything else. Like the measure, like there's kind of a fuzzy measure, right? It's like you need to report the numbers that are material to your business, the actual business drivers. And in this case, after watching Netflix for years and years and years, I can understand why from an investor, it's like, hey, what's going on here? Are you hiding something? I actually take them at their word. It's not actually a material driver of their business right now, or will be sort of going forward. Yes, there is a part of that in which it can sort of only go one direction, but that is not sort of long-term detrimental to their business. Their business going forward is basically cleaning up the entertainment industry that they obliterated, which is becoming the one spot. All the studios selling to them again, which is already starting to happen. Them being not just an alternative to the cable bundle, but basically the cable bundle, the only place you sort of need to go to get your non-sports sort of entertainment. So, you know, they are in their Taylor Swift era, their Taylor Swift tortured poets era. And I think it's totally fine and appropriate, even with the sort of caveat that it's kind of, I mean, it's annoying to me in two regards. Number one, I always like more information. And number two, I've gotten a tremendous amount of mileage over the years in pointing out how dumb the investors are being by being obsessed about this number. Yes.